In a world where first impressions often dictate outcomes, can a sharp-minded Black entrepreneur turn skepticism into a groundbreaking opportunity? Witness the journey of an underestimated visionary who challenges the status quo and shatters expectations. Daniel Freeman stood in front of the polished glass doors, pausing to collect his thoughts before entering the high-rise that housed potential futures, both for his startup and himself. He was a dynamic Black entrepreneur, his mind a hive of revolutionary ideas aimed at transforming the supply chain logistics through advanced artificial intelligence. Today, he was set to pitch his latest innovation, a system designed to predict and mitigate disruptions before they became critical, potentially saving companies millions and drastically reducing downtime. The weight of the moment wasn't lost on Daniel. Clad in a sharp suit that masked his nervous anticipation, he carried not just his presentation laptop, but the hopes of breaking through the often invisible barriers that held back many minority entrepreneurs. His startup, Logitech AI, had the potential to change the industry, provided he could secure the funding and support needed to scale his operations. As the elevator dinged its arrival at the penthouse suite, the doors slid open to reveal an office space that epitomized the pinnacle of the business world. The room was sleek and modern, with minimalist furniture that spoke of expensive tastes and an affinity for the latest trends. Panoramic windows offered a breathtaking view of the city skyline, a constant reminder of the heights one could reach in this cutthroat environment. Sitting across a long, glass-topped conference table was Richard Thompson, a figure well known in the investment community, not just for his successful portfolio, but for his notoriously condescending demeanor. Richard, in his late 50s, had made a name for himself with conservative investment strategies that favored traditional businesses and proven markets. His skepticism towards new ventures, especially those led by entrepreneurs who didn't fit his narrow view of a typical business leader, was almost legendary. As Daniel set up his presentation, Richard's piercing gaze felt like an attempt to unravel his confidence thread by thread. Flanked by associates who mirrored his sharp, scrutinizing look, Richard leaned back in his chair, his expression a mix of curiosity and latent disbelief. The air was thick with anticipation and unspoken challenges, the kind that Daniel had learned to navigate but never quite got used to. Today's meeting wasn't just about securing funding, it was about proving his worth in a space that all too often judged on appearances rather than ability. As he clicked to the first slide, Daniel cleared his throat, ready to make his case. "Good morning," he started, his voice steady and clear. "Today, I'm not just going to show you how we can revolutionize supply chain logistics. I'm going to show you why Logitech AI is your next big success story." With every word, Daniel knew he wasn't just selling his business model, he was selling a new narrative, one where innovation and diversity were not just accepted, but sought after. This pitch was his battleground, and he was ready to win. As Daniel Freeman delved into the intricacies of his presentation, the room's energy shifted subtly. With each slide, he unveiled another layer of Logitech AI's capabilities, drawing the audience into a vision of streamlined, efficient supply chains powered by artificial intelligence. His words painted a picture of a future where logistical nightmares were preemptively solved by smart algorithms, where businesses could significantly reduce waste and boost profitability. Richard Thompson, seasoned yet skeptical, watched closely, his expression a blend of interest and doubt. Every so often, he interjected with pointed questions, challenging Daniel on the scalability of his AI system, its integration complexities, and its real-world applicability. "How does your system adapt to unexpected global market shifts?" he asked, leaning forward, his tone demanding. Daniel responded with poised assurance, presenting data from recent case studies where his system had not only adapted, but had predicted such shifts, allowing client companies to adjust their strategies proactively. He referenced a particular instance with a multinational corporation that had seen a 15% improvement in supply chain efficiency within the first quarter of implementation. Despite the robust answers, Richard's skepticism lingered. He pushed further, questioning the security features of Daniel's technology. "And what about data breaches? How secure is your platform against the increasingly sophisticated cyber threats?" His challenge echoed the concerns of many in the room, raising eyebrows and nodding heads among the investors. Unfazed, Daniel switched to a slide detailing the advanced encryption protocols and multi-layered security measures integrated into his platform. We prioritize security above all, Daniel explained. Our system is designed to meet the highest standards, undergoing regular independent audits to ensure compliance and security. As the Q&A continued, another figure in the room, Samantha Lee from the Fortune 500 company, observed the exchange with growing interest. Her company had been grappling with inefficiencies in their supply chain that were costing them millions each year. Daniel's solutions seemed not only viable, but potentially revolutionary. The presentation progressed, with Daniel showcasing testimonials from pilot users who extolled the system's virtues, their testimonies sincere and compelling. He concluded with a roadmap for future development, highlighting upcoming features and planned enhancements that promised even greater efficiencies. Just as Richard was gearing up for another pointed question, Samantha stood up. Her interruption was polite yet firm. If I may, I'd like to discuss potential real-world applications of Mr. Freeman's technology in our operations, she interjected, her voice carrying a mix of authority and genuine curiosity. We see substantial potential for partnership. The room's attention shifted. Conversations sparked among attendees, whispers of Fortune 500 interest fluttering through the air like electric currents. Richard's face tightened slightly, his previous certainty shaken by the turn of events. His questions, once seeming to corner Daniel, now appeared to some as potentially short-sighted or overly critical in the face of evident industry interest. Daniel and Samantha engaged directly, discussing specific challenges her company faced that Logitech AI could address. The dialogue opened up possibilities for collaboration, drawing nods and notes from others in the room. Daniel's answers to her queries were detailed and bespoke, tailored to the nuances of her company's needs. As the meeting adjourned, the buzz was palpable. Handshakes were exchanged, business cards swapped with more enthusiasm than before. Daniel's prospects had visibly improved, his credibility bolstered not just by his performance, but by the evident interest from a major player in the industry. Richard, meanwhile, found himself reconsidering his stance. The real-world interest from a respected industry leader like Samantha forced him to contemplate the potential he might be overlooking. Could his initial skepticism have been premature, perhaps even a reflection of the very biases he often accused others of harboring? As the final slide faded from the screen, a palpable sense of anticipation filled the room. Daniel Freeman stood confidently beside his presentation, ready for the typical round of quick handshakes and generic expressions of interest. However, this time, the atmosphere was different, charged with a tangible buzz of excitement, especially around Samantha Lee, the representative from the Fortune 500 company. Samantha approached Daniel with a brisk, purposeful stride, her eyes reflecting not just interest but admiration. Mr. Freeman, your presentation was not only compelling, but it demonstrated a clear understanding of the challenges and opportunities within the supply chain sector. She began, extending her hand. Our company has been exploring innovative solutions to enhance our logistics operations, and I believe your technology could be the game changer we need. Daniel, grasping her hand firmly, responded, Thank you, Ms. Lee. I'm thrilled to hear that our goals align so closely. I'm eager to discuss how we can collaborate to bring this technology to a scale that can truly make a difference. Nearby, Richard Thompson's earlier smugness dissolved into a mix of surprise and consternation. He had positioned himself to overhear the exchange, and the words struck him harder than he expected. His own dismissive questions during the presentation echoed mockingly in his mind as he watched the most influential guest in the room validate Daniel's vision. Realizing the potential misstep, Richard approached Daniel, his demeanor shifting from condescension to a forced collegiality. Daniel, I must admit, the broader applications of your system are indeed more extensive than I initially considered, Richard said, his voice tinged with reluctance. Would there be room to discuss potential involvement from our side as well? Daniel, noticing the change in Richard's tone, maintained his composure. Of course, Mr. Thompson, Logitech. I is always open to exploring all avenues of growth and support. However, our immediate next steps involve deep discussions with partners ready to implement at scale. I'm sure there will be opportunities down the road for various types of collaboration. Richard nodded, his expression a complex tapestry of acknowledgement and regret. He was not used to being in a position where he had to backtrack so visibly. As Daniel turned back to engage further with Samantha, discussing preliminary steps towards a partnership, Richard was left to reflect on his initial skepticism and the unwarranted doubts he had harbored. The discussion between Daniel and Samantha grew more technical, delving into specifics about integration timelines, pilot project scopes, and long-term visions for deployment. Samantha's enthusiasm was evident. Her company had been seeking a cutting-edge solution like Daniel's, and she was keen on moving quickly. "We have been monitoring emerging tech in the logistics space," Samantha shared, her voice animated. "Your AI-driven approach aligns perfectly with our strategic goals for the next decade. We are particularly impressed with your pilot results and the adaptability of your platform." Daniel, thrilled with the alignment and the swift movement towards a substantial collaboration, outlined potential next steps. "Our team is ready to scale up operations. With your company's infrastructure and our technology, we can create a synergy that not only optimizes logistics, but sets new industry standards," he explained, his eyes alight with the prospect of turning his vision into reality. The crowd around them began to dissipate, leaving Daniel and Samantha in a bubble of shared strategic planning. They agreed to set up formal meetings between their teams and discuss details about a possible joint venture or direct integration of Logitech AI system into the Fortune 500 company's operations. As they exchanged business cards and a promise to reconnect within the week, the impact of what had just transpired began to settle on Daniel. He had entered the room hoping to find a willing investor, but had potentially secured a transformative partnership that could propel his startup into a major market player. The climax of the meeting not only marked a high point in Daniel's career, but also served as a pivotal moment for Richard. Witnessing the unfolding possibilities, Richard was forced to confront the limitations of his traditional business outlook. The industry was changing rapidly, driven by innovators like Daniel, who not only foresaw the changes, but were leading them. As the room cleared and the last of the attendees departed, Daniel took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought him here. From conceptualizing his technology in a small shared workspace to standing on the brink of a major industry partnership, his path had been anything but straightforward. Yet today's success was a testament to the power of perseverance, innovation, and the importance of challenging the status quo. Meanwhile, Richard left the meeting with much to ponder, his mind racing with the implications of the day's events for his own business strategies and his future engagements with emerging entrepreneurs. The lesson was clear. Underestimating talent based on preconceived notions was not just a personal failing, but a professional hazard in a world where innovation knew no boundaries. The days following Daniel Freeman's breakthrough presentation were a whirlwind of activity. As he navigated the crucial stages of formal negotiations with the Fortune 500 company, his focus was unyielding. The discussions were intense and complex, involving multiple departments from both sides, each delving into the granular details of what a partnership could look like. Legal teams pored over contracts while technical teams worked closely to ensure that Daniel's AI system could integrate seamlessly with existing corporate technologies. Daniel was in his element, proving not just his prowess as a tech innovator, but also his acumen in handling high-stakes business negotiations. The deal that emerged was more than just a financial win. It was a strategic alliance that would place Logitech AI at the forefront of supply chain logistics technology. The Fortune 500 company was set to invest significantly, not just in terms of capital, but also resources, to scale Daniel's solution globally. As these developments unfolded, Richard Thompson found himself reflecting on the events that had transpired. He had returned to his office feeling a mix of frustration and enlightenment. The realization that his initial judgment of Daniel was not just flawed, but potentially costly, was a bitter pill to swallow. He thought about how his skepticism and conservative approach to new ventures might have caused him to miss out on other transformative opportunities. Determined to learn from this oversight, Richard began reassessing how he evaluated entrepreneurial ventures, especially those spearheaded by innovators who brought different perspectives and solutions to the table. Meanwhile, the news of Daniel's deal with the Fortune 500 company began to make waves across the industry. Media outlets picked up the story, heralding Daniel as a visionary who was set to revolutionize an entire sector. Invitations to speak at major tech conferences and industry panels soon followed, with organizers eager to have Daniel share his insights and success story. Each appearance bolstered his reputation, drawing attention to the importance of diversity and innovation in technology. These public accolades were more than just personal triumphs for Daniel. They were affirmations of his hard work and belief in his vision. They also highlighted the growing shift in the industry towards recognizing and supporting diverse technological thought leaders. As Daniel spoke at these events, he emphasized the value of perseverance, the importance of embracing new ideas, and the critical role of inclusive support structures in fostering innovation. Back at Logitech AI, the team celebrated the official signing of the deal. The infusion of resources and capital allowed them to expand their operations, hire more talent, and increase their research and development efforts. Daniel made sure to use this growth not only to push the boundaries of what his company could achieve, but also to mentor and support other aspiring entrepreneurs, particularly those from underrepresented backgrounds. In a poignant turn of events, Richard reached out to Daniel to express his congratulations. He admitted his initial misjudgments and expressed a desire to learn more about emerging technologies and the potential they held. This conversation, while somewhat awkward, marked the beginning of a new level of respect between the two businessmen. Daniel, gracious yet candid, shared his thoughts on the importance of openness in business evaluations. As the narrative of Daniel's success spread, it inspired a broader dialogue within the business community about the value of diverse perspectives and the potential loss when these perspectives are undervalued. This dialogue was not confined to boardrooms or conference stages. It permeated social media, industry forums, and even academic discussions, sparking debates and studies on how diversity drives innovation. Daniel's journey from a hopeful entrepreneur facing skepticism to a celebrated industry leader exemplified not just personal success, but also the impact one individual's vision can have on an industry. As he continued to lead his company and shape the future of logistics, his story remained a beacon for others, a testament to the transformative power of resilience, innovation, and the willingness to challenge the status quo. At a high-profile tech conference known for showcasing the forefront of innovation, Daniel Freeman stood at the podium, embodying the triumph of persistence and innovative thinking. The room buzzed with the energy of hundreds of entrepreneurs, investors, and tech enthusiasts, all gathered to hear from the man whose startup had recently inked a transformative deal with a Fortune 500 company. As the spotlight shone down, Daniel took a moment to look over the crowd, seeing faces filled with curiosity and anticipation. Daniel's speech began with a reflective tone as he recounted the inception of his startup, Logitech AI. He described the humble beginnings, the sleepless nights spent coding and recalibrating algorithms, and the relentless pursuit of a vision that many had initially dismissed. "Our journey was fraught with challenges," Daniel admitted, his voice steady and inspiring. "We faced skepticism not just about the viability of our technology, but also about our ability to lead in a highly competitive market. Each doubt cast our way only strengthened our resolve." He detailed the pivotal meeting with Richard Thompson, a seasoned investor whose initial condescension had nearly derailed the pitch meeting that would eventually pave the way for Daniel's success. It was in that room, facing stark disbelief, that the true test of our commitment unfolded. We had to not only defend our technology, but also the very essence of our capacity to innovate, Daniel shared, the audience hanging on every word. As Daniel spoke of the turning point, securing a partnership with a major corporate player, his narrative highlighted the broader implications for diversity and inclusion in tech. This deal was not just a win for our team, but a beacon for every young entrepreneur who has been overlooked or underestimated, he asserted, driving home the importance of reevaluating how the tech industry supports diverse innovation. Meanwhile, Richard Thompson sat among the audience, his earlier doubts transformed into deep respect for Daniel's achievements. Richard had taken Daniel's success as a catalyst for change within his own venture capital firm, initiating programs designed to support underrepresented tech entrepreneurs. He now understood that innovation could come from any quarter, and that his role was to foster, not hinder, the growth of groundbreaking ideas. Back on stage, Daniel's conclusion drew a standing ovation. He spoke of the future, of plans to expand his company's reach globally, and of his commitment to mentoring the next generation of tech leaders. We are at our best when we recognize and harness the breadth of talent available to us, irrespective of background, he declared, his message resonant and clear. After the speech, Daniel was surrounded by attendees eager to connect with him, each person drawn by his vision and his story of overcoming adversity. Conversations sparked around collaboration possibilities, and several young entrepreneurs sought his advice, seeing him as a mentor and a role model. The conference ended on a note of uplifted spirits and renewed motivation. Daniel's experience had not only validated his efforts, but had also illustrated the profound impact of embracing diversity within the tech community. His partnership with the Fortune 500 company was just the beginning, and his story was set to inspire countless others. Reflecting on the day's events as the conference hall emptied, Daniel felt a profound sense of accomplishment and purpose. He knew that his journey had altered the landscape for many who would follow, and he was determined to continue breaking barriers and building bridges wherever possible. Meanwhile, Richard, reflecting on his newfound insights, left the conference with a renewed commitment to being an ally and advocate for innovative minds from all walks of life.